Nintendo, back in the 1980s, released a series of portable LCD games called Game & Watch. Very much like the Tiger Electronic handhelds that were released in the 90s, only they weren't complete shit. You see, back in the old days, Mr. Game & Watch from the Super Smash Bros. Series, he was known as being the main character on most of these Game & Watch games, but he wasn't the only Nintendo character to make an appearance on these things. Nintendo produced a number of these devices, all with different games. But I think the one that sticks out for me is my personal favorite, Mario's Cement Factory. The game stars Mario in a cement factory emptying funnels of constantly filling cement into trucks awaiting down below. The gameplay revolves around Mario moving through an obstacle course of elevators that, if not properly timed, end in you falling or being crushed, earning you a miss. If the cement in the funnels overflow, that also earns a miss, and covers the truck driver down below in cement. You earn 3 misses, you lose the game. There are 2 game modes, A and B, and they're pretty much the same. One is a bit faster than the other, increasing the difficulty. The gameplay you're seeing here is actually not from the original Game & Watch device itself, because that thing's just incredibly difficult to film, but it looks exactly like this. This gameplay is actually from a Game Boy Advance game called Game & Watch Gallery Advanced, bringing the game to a new device for modern times. On top of that, there was also a release of this exact same game for download on the Nintendo DSi and 3DS. Now, while the LCD portable systems were very popular because they were portable, I guess, Nintendo also had partnered with Coleco to make a series of tabletop Game & Watch units. And this, unlike the portable version, has not been reproduced by Nintendo since its release. While a regular Game & Watch game could fit in your pocket, these tabletop devices were bigger and looked like miniature arcade systems. Pretty much the same gameplay as its much smaller cousin, but its graphics were colorful, bright, and had more arcade-like controls. Just look at this. Overall, I believe this version of the game was a big improvement over the original. Even the sound effects are just a little bit different, because they actually have an opening theme. Which is clearly a ripoff of Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. But whatever. This version of the game plays almost exactly like the portable version. One of the main differences in the gameplay being the new top right pole Mario can grab onto. This actually gives you another option to survive the elevator when it rises above before crushing Mario. It's a smart added feature that doesn't appear in any other version of the game that I know of. The latest way to play this game with the most modern looking graphics to date can be found once again on Game & Watch Gallery Advance. You know, that game I mentioned earlier. Not only can it play the original version, but it can also play a new modernized version taking place in a cookie factory with the addition of Yoshi and Toad at the bottom instead of some random truck drivers. This one has some changes to the gameplay, like being able to leap onto moving elevators, which removes some of the difficulty. But it also has sequences where a Boo will sneak into a funnel and take up a slot where Cookie Dough could be. It's a change to the gameplay, but it feels pretty solid. I could call this the best version of the game today, but something about the tabletop is just way more interesting to me. I feel that the old school arcade design, cool backlit visuals, and small modification to the level make this the best version of the game that exists. While by nature this game gets repetitive, it's pretty much like any other arcade game from the same time period. And this isn't the only Nintendo tabletop game that was produced. There were several, and if you happen to find one out in the wild, don't pass up the chance to play them. They're really cool and very well made games. Totally give them a shot.